unregulated construction, a lot of, let me call it impunity, collapsing buildings. And what we wanted to do as KPF is bring on board people who are affected by those issues, but also bring together people who could give us potential solutions to those issues. So we have experts who are planners, architects. We also have some people who are familiar with the government systems who can, number one, listen to us air our issues, but also as a community find ways to get collective solutions to these problems. For example, we saw Mbazi Avenue a few weeks ago were really affected by construction that the court had even stopped. The judiciary had given orders for construction to stop, but the developers just went ahead and were still constructing. But they managed to find solutions to that problem. So from this forum, I'm hoping that we'll be able to, number one, air our issues to the relevant people, but also come up with solutions from our points of view as residents. What can we do? What kind of opportunities, how can we network also amongst ourselves to find solutions to these problems? So that is basically it for this Plan Development Baraza. Allow me to hand over to our Vice Chair, who will also tell us a bit more about the history of this Baraza and more about the plan development in Kilimani. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everybody. It's so wonderful to see all of you, to engage as neighbors, as people who love our environment, who love our city, and are eager to see our city develop in a very sustainable way. I think urbanization is the future. There's no doubt about it. The world, it's more efficient to densify. It's better in terms of certain, efficiencies, but it must be done in a sustainable manner. It must be done in such a way that our children have places to play, that, I see Chris here, who's a big champion of NMT, that people who walk, there are places to walk, there are places there's public transport that is accessible, that is efficient. So I think that's what really the thrust and the drive is around sustainable urban development. And what we see is not necessarily sustainable. The basis of sustainability first must come from a place of planning, isn't it? They say failing to plan is planning to fail. And I think as much as all this is coming, all the development is coming up, we as KPF are pushing for an agenda of having a local physical development plan that has thought through all this, where are people shopping? Where are people going to play? Where are people going to work? And how do all these activities come together? The clashes we see around noise pollution are a planning problem. They're not really about the restaurants. It's about we didn't plan adequately to where the restaurants and the bars should be, and how the schools coexist, how the workplace coexists, and that's really the thrust of what this is about. I want to encourage you, if you're not a member of Kilimani Project Foundation, today is the day. So pull out your phone, go to www.kilimani.org, and there'll be a place there of how to become a member. Please become a member. They say we have to, one big thing that KPF is about is stopping to complain and becoming agents of change. Yeah. So from complaining to actually finding solutions. So this is one way as a Kenyan that you can participate. Get off Twitter, get into KPF, yeah, and let's see things change together for the future we want. I'm a firm believer in what Wangari Maathai also says. What's your little thing? What are you doing? And collectively, if we all did our little thing, it becomes a very big thing. So here we're able to create a movement, and we're so happy to see all of you. So on behalf of the entire board of the Kilimani Project Foundation, I'd like to welcome you, and we're very, very happy to see you. Maybe as we settle in, I just want us to, find out who's seated next to you. Maybe, if you came, not the person you came with and you know who they are, just find out someone who's seated you. What do they do? You might come out of here not only being more empowered, but you might come out with a contact and a network that will really help you. Maybe ask them where they're from, what they do, and why they're here. Why are you here? Yeah? Why are you here? Why are you here? Some of you are here because you're working. Yeah, at least no. Yes. And they thought maybe there's a party. Someone you didn't come with? There's no one to talk to? I'll come and talk to you. Fantastic. And if you did this, the scavenger hunt, I hope you've returned them to IEBC. IEBC is Juliet. Yeah. If you did your scavenger hunt, make sure you return your Form 34A to Juliet so you can get your prize money. Awesome. I think that's great. I'll hand over back the mic to the MC Mary. Thank you.
Thanks, Emma. So right now, I want you all to meet our wonderful host. So I'll invite a representative from CTM. Rachel. Before Rachel comes, I'd like to invite Vilcom to share a few words. Karibu.
All right. Yeah, good morning. It's great to be here. See you. We are happy to always partner with you. My name is John Kome, Sales Manager, Vilcom Networks. So this is a telecommunication company that we have been here for close to 4 years. We are in around 5 counties. We are expanding. Our key market has always been Kilimani, and that's why you have been part of this journey, part of this community. We are glad to meet you and to interact with you today, just to share with you what we do, what we have done, and how we can uplift your internet experience, both at home and also at your businesses. So for today, I think we shall have more time to interact with you. We have our tent there, so please feel free to pass by, interact with our team, and we shall have a great time today. All the best.
Thank you. So Rachel is here finally. Karibu.
Good morning. My name is Rachel. I'm the branch manager for CTM. We are a retail outlet for tiles and sanitary ware. I hope you got a chance to see what we have. Yeah, so we are so happy to host you here. We are part of the Kilimani community, and we're excited to be part of this initiative. So we are happy to have you. Please feel free to look for us when you're renovating or building your home. I think you've seen enough. If you have any questions, we are all here in black shirts. Please come for assistance. Karibuni sana. Have a good time. And we hope we can get some meaningful resolutions, yeah? Thank you.
Thank you so much. So now we are going into another session. You might know that we do host hackathons, property tech, prop tech hackathons. This year in October we held one, and we found out some nice solutions which will be presented to you. And one of them has to do with waste collection. And since that is what we are trying to advocate, so we are taking matters very seriously with being solution providers, not just complaining. So I'll invite the Taka Point team to show us what they're doing.
Hi, this is Taka Points. These are my teammates. In today's world, you've seen waste management has become a big issue. But with Taka Points, we've introduced something interesting to you, where you give us where you use our smart bins and you get rewards in the end. I'll tell my friends to show you how it works.
So just a brief description of how it works. This bin is designed to detect plastic, so you can just dispose plastic. It is best for waste segregation. Instead of going to Dandora and then they have to separate the waste, they will just be separated from the home, let's say, for example, in an estate, they can just dispose it. And then if someone disposes it, they get points in which they can redeem, either for airtime or for some cash. So maybe we'll just do a sample with someone. If someone wants to receive a sample, let's say, for example, is anyone willing to volunteer their phone number? Just secretly, they can just dial it here. Should we, yeah? Is there anyone? Or we just demonstrate? Yeah? Wait a minute, just a moment. +254. So if someone, let's say, if she was the one who was disposing the plastics, she will just dispose it here and it will count the number of plastics that are being deposited. And then once she's done, she's going to receive some points depending on the amount of garbage she has disposed. So for now, we are working on plastic, and then we are supposed to provide another bin for metal waste, so that we are currently working on machine learning. We have a larger bin that is going to separate. Let's say, for example, if someone disposes plastic, it will know it will go to the plastic compartment. If it is metal, it will go to the metal compartment. And if it is, let's say, organic, it will go to the organic. And then it will award them with points, and then they will be able to redeem it. And then it will be best. Let's say, for example, it will be able to help the government in terms of waste segregation. There won't be a lot of wastage of funds in terms of going, let's say, for example, for now, what we can relate with is Dandora. There's a lot of wastage of funds, let's say, for example, in waste segregation. They have to use a lot of money. So with this one, it will be done. I don't know if you have received a message. Have you blocked promotional messages? We are using promotional messages for bulk SMS. So if someone blocked them, it won't come through, but you'll be awarded with 0 points because there was nothing disposed. Yeah. I think that's what we have. And then there's a USSD in which you can use to redeem your points.
Oh, so for USSD, okay, you will wonder, yes, I've dropped in the bins. How can I access my points after being rewarded? So you'll give you an access to a USSD, whether you can either buy airtime, because we need airtime at this time, and also pay utility bills, electricity, water bills, and so on, because you're planning to partner with these companies when we grow big. Or you can also transfer your Taka points to another person after using our USSD. This is Taka points.
We are targeting markets. Yeah, centralized markets. It will be best for centralized markets. It is going to incentivize proper waste management.
And also gated communities and schools, to be more specific. Our major target market is gated community, schools, universities, to be specific, and also events such as these events, because I'm sure plastics are going to be used in these events when giving people drinks. Yes.
Yeah, we are currently thinking on how we are going to tackle that, if we are going to provide bins for every household, something like that. And the good thing about this bin is once it's full, it will contact the supplier. So the collector, not the supplier, the collector, it will automatically call the collector and then tell them the bin in a particular location, it has got GPS, and then they'll just come and pick it up. Thank you.
Thank you. If there are no further questions, I'd like to invite our hackathon winners. Do we have a question? Thank you. We'll invite the winners And in the meantime, there's some tea and snacks outside. So if you'd like to take some, feel free to get some and bring it back with you.
They're looking for investors.
Okay. You might not know, but we have Akili Cycle, and waste management is also one of our major activities. And also, if you are in the field of waste management, feel free to reach out to those guys. They're looking for someone to invest in their idea, and that might be the next big thing. I mean, with the new crackdown on plastics. So that's an investment opportunity.
Morning, everyone. I hope I'm not denying you the chance to get some snacks. But anyway, my name is Joseph Kosugo, and currently I'm not a student. I completed my bachelor's in information technology, and we are the Kili Hub, and I'd like my peers to also introduce themselves.
Hi, everybody. My name is Gregory Mark. I'm a full-stack developer. I'm currently employed at OnPhone Media. I work there as a customer service agent.
Hello, guys. My name is Brian Yagon. Currently, I'm jobless. I'm looking for a job. So, yeah, I'm welcome for any opportunity if there is one. So, I'm a full-stack developer, though I did my bachelor's in procurement and contract management, though I shifted to software development because of interest, and yeah, software development is just fun. So we hope that you enjoy our presentation, and yeah, welcome.
All right. So I'm going to try and keep this brief. So basically, what we did, we were aiming to solve two problems that mainly kind of encompasses like three issues that Kilimani faces. So the first one is about poor responses from government authorities. Public participation was an issue as well. And we also had noise pollution from clubs and I'll just say entertainment joints, and also religious points. So now basically, we all know that we are all entitled to an environment that is safe, and that is encompassed in the Kenyan Constitution, Article 42A, which gives us the right to have a healthy environment. So basically, I'm just going to do a quick demo of what this gadget that we have here is going to do. So basically, this item here is it's a sound sensor that is going to be picking noise on real time. So this is going to mainly be placed inside clubs, and you might argue that they are soundproofs and stuff, but as we all know, these clubs as well, they also have windows and doors, which again is an escape route for the noise. So how are we going to achieve this? So this gadget is going to be picking noise levels as it is, and then we're going to set like a standard limit that if the noise exceeds that limit, then it's going to cut off the power on the club. So that means you won't have to ask authorities to come, and if that is not met, you can also, the data is being saved elsewhere. So if you have to file a case against the club or anyone, you will have the data with you. So just to head over straight, one more thing about public participation. This app which is partly online. You can head over to your browser if you have your phone, kilimanivassel.app, if I'm not...
Kilimanihub.vassel.app.
Correct. So if you kind of have bundles, you can check that out. But it's well, I can say it's 90% functioning because we are trying to use free resources, and as we know, free resources, they come with restrictions. So we tried to just avail it to you guys. So yeah, it also allows for people to like raise ideas, for people to like contribute to whatever is happening around Kilimani. It allows also for, if someone wants to donate to an ongoing project, which is okay, they can still do that within the platform. So just to head over to what this gadget does, I don't know whether the guys on the other side have some music, then we can just bring it close to the speakers and see whether that works. Just a minute, just a minute. The DJ was ready. Just a minute. Yeah, very ready. Sorry. So, the DJ. One more thing. Let me just show you what you have to expect with this thing. So, just flash it for them this way. So you can see it has two lights. I don't know. Can you all see that there are two lights? So we have the blue light. The blue light is supposed to give us an indication of if the sound exceeds the required standard. So it's going to flash, it's going to go off. That means it's going to cut power supply. It's almost the same thing because we couldn't find of a better way to show this, but this is how it's basically supposed to work. So, yeah. Okay, so I know you're quite wondering why it took time, but you know, you can't pick, as you know, sound is not, like it doesn't form it's not consistent, for lack of a better word, so it's kind of picking sounds and doing an average of that. So as you can see right now, it has gone off right now. The blue light is not there, and that means now power is cut, and right now we, as I said, because of limited resources, I'm the admin as of now, so I've received an email with a notification with the sound levels. Let me just see. Yeah, so I'm sure there are many, but you can just show them. This is kind of like the average of what the sounds were. Yeah. So it's something to do with that. So basically that's what the application does. I don't know, has anyone gotten a chance to interact with the online application? Maybe they can give us kind of a review of how it works. You didn't get the spelling?
Kilimani Hub, just Kilimani. Yeah. Vercel, VERCEL. KilimaniHub.vercel.app. VERCEL.app. Yes.
Yeah. So I'm just going to do a quick demo on what to expect in the because it's basically just like any other social media platforms that we have out here, but it's just centered for Kilimani. So anyone who wants to join the Kilimani or is within the Kilimani region can just be able to see anything that is happening. And we have the donation key. I don't know whether you can see that. I'm sure it's in the navigation bar. If you just press it, you're going to see a donate. So if you donate there, you're going to see your number. So basically, if you guys register, then we are going to get your data, and you're not going to have that to enter your phone number. It's going to auto-pick that for you, but you can kind of enter the amount that you want, and then it's going to prompt you for to enter the M-Pesa PIN, and then you're going to have donated that. So we kind of want to centralize everything for Kilimani. So if you give us a chance, we're going to do that. Thanks.
Thank you. Do we have any questions? Questions, comments, concerns? Okay, so they just did the introduction, and we are yet to start to... So I'm saying...
Thanks to both teams. Thank you so much for putting your heads together. I think fantastic, and congratulations that you are the winners of the hackathon. And I think your target audience is probably government agencies, whether NEMA or City Council, so wishing you all the best with that. And I think it's fantastic. I think the theme of the hackathon was using technology to solve urban development challenges. I'm just wondering whether you could have something also for developers that hits them on the head when they're going beyond zoning guidelines. Yeah, but thanks a lot. Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, very inspired.
Thank you, Emma. So if that's all, we'll go to the next session, which is the main reason why we are here for the Baraza, which is the readings. And we also will also share the survey, the public service delivery survey. So I'll take you through it. Sorry? Okay. Okay, so we have some new developments that have been reported between October and now, since we had our last Baraza, and they are listed there along George Padmore Road. So in case you live around there, just stay vigilant, and if you need our help, just reach out. So we also have another one on Algeo Marakwet Road, which is a a change of use from single unit to commercial. And there's another one along Kilimanjaro Road, Upper Hill, change of use from single dwelling to multiple dwelling, come commercial. The fourth one is along Wood Avenue, change of use from single dwelling to multiple dwelling, come commercial. The fifth one is in Ring Road, a change of use from residential to commercial, come residential, that is multi-dwelling apartments. And there is the last one is along Hendard Road, a change of use from single to multi-dwelling. As you can see, there is a pattern. All of them are moving from single to multi-story. So I'd like to advise you to stay vigilant and be on the lookout for the number of the floors, because apartments are not illegal, but 23rd floors are illegal. So we'll go to the next. We'll share some of the developments that seem to be troublesome. Just highlighting a few. There's one, the address is 11 on Lenana Road. The owner is Rodol Homes. The excavations are already going on, and they already have all those approvals, yet they are floating the development, the planned development guidelines. So the next one also on Lenana Road by Haas Consult, and the construction is already going. They already passed the excavations, and also it's floating zoning guidelines. And as you can see, they are parking their machinery on the walkways, and that is why we have so many potholes in Kilimani. The next one is, this one is a hazard. It's also in Lenana Road. As you can see, there's green water. Because they excavated, they haven't even fenced the place, and some kids and even animals and people can fall there. So in fact, we should do a quick follow-up, a demonstration. I'm inviting you all, I'm daring you, because this is a hazard. So if you know any of these, or if you live in Lenana Road, we'd be happy to organize a demonstration and take action. So we have these two. This one is along Likoni Lane, one of the most troublesome one. So for this one, I'd like to invite Irene to give us the updates on where they are.
Mary, I believe you have the updates. You have the updates. How many people do we have here from Likoni Lane? No. This is a development, or should I say a proposed development, that we have been struggling with, fighting against for, Dr. how many? 2.5 years now? We have managed to have them not mobilize on site. They attempted to mobilize on site. But what the residents, and I must applaud you all residents of Likoni Lane, what we did is that we blocked the lane with our cars, all the way from the site to Dennisprit Road, because these people did not have any approvals from any of the agencies, not from City County, not from NEMA, not from anywhere. And yet they were mobilizing on site. Heavy duty machinery was already being mobilized on site with not even the site signboard. So residents of Likoni Lane, I must say, we have kept a spirited fight. We have continued to write to NEMA. We have continued to show up for the public participation meetings. When they do not comply, when they do not follow the guidelines, we take them right back to the drawing board, to the point where right now, as it stands, the approval that they had gotten from, that they had been granted from the City County has been revoked because of the fight, the spirited fight that we have put up. So what I would like to encourage all other residents of Kilimani, Kileleshwa, Lavington, keep fighting. They only win this war when we stop fighting. So just keep fighting. I must say Likoni Lane has been a very good example. So please follow our example.
Thank you. Thank you, Irene. I wanted her to customize the comments. The next one is Mbazi Avenue. The developers are also related, so I'd like to invite Ben from Mbazi to share a few comments on that. I'm inviting them to let you know that residents should be on the first line of defense because they mobilize and we support. So there are nice examples of residents.
Thanks. I was not expecting to talk this early, but yeah, that's me over there, I guess. So how we ended up being standing in front of the gate, being like a human shield to prevent trucks from coming in and excavators from coming in, was that initially we did a petition with the rest of the residents that we didn't want this to happen because we heard in quotes, and there was no public participation at all. We just heard in quotes that they were going to do 512 apartments on less than about an acre, 512. So you can imagine just a block over there. And the petition didn't work. We had sent it to City Hall. What City Hall did is they issued a letter saying this should not go ahead. They issued a letter, you know, the team there, Analo and rest. So very nice. We put that letter on the gate. The work continued like nothing had happened. So 2 weeks later, we went to court. We got an injunction and said, yes, now we have it. We have an injunction from the court. So we went and put it there. The next day, things just went ahead as usual. So we decided just to mobilize our team, and we engaged the police, the OCS, and he initially was like, you know, hesitant. But in the letter we said, you know, in Article 37 of the Constitution of Kenya, you have a right to picket, and we are coming to you to give us protection. So I think he consulted the OCPD, and they said, okay, fine, we're going to give you 6 officers. So we did a whole picket all the way from Masanduku, moving up Mbazi Avenue to this site. And I think that right now, since then, that was 2 weeks ago, nothing has moved. We did tree planting afterwards, and we planted trees along that very site, as well as along Mbazi Avenue. And the next day, the last of the excavators that were still in there moved out. So I think there's some hope when, you know, we mobilize ourselves, but it shouldn't have to come to that, I think. Thank you.
Thank you, Ben. So we are done with the readings, and I'd like to just give an opportunity to one person. If your neighbor is trying to set up a development that is giving you a headache, please let us know about it. Does anyone have something to complain about or to share?
Just let this car to move, please.
Sorry. Okay. Also, please, KA, is it you? Why 320M kindly give way? Thank you.
Hello, everybody. Yeah. Hello, everybody. I'm Mary Walker. I live down Maalim Juma Road. We've got a Shell petrol station has come up. We gather that there is another one up the opposite that's coming up, Total, and we feel that's too much for our road. So I hope it won't happen. The Total one won't take place. Thank you.
Thank you. So we'll follow up to see if that has been done. So I'd like to welcome all of you. Kuna seats. We have some empty seats here. If you don't mind taking a seat, please do. So now we are going to share. We conducted a service delivery survey to gauge what kind of services our service providers, that is KPLC, Nairobi Water and Sewer, and also Kura, what they have been doing, and also the MCA and the ward admin. So this is what residents said. Next. So for the overall public service in Kilimani, that at least 13% was satisfied, 26.7% were neutral, and at least 60% were dissatisfied. And the reasons are the propping up of illegal bus stops and the border stops, and also nothing seems to be working in Kilimani. There is a lot of unplanned power disruptions, and also the high rises. And infrastructure has been abandoned, too many potholes, and no lights. And also the river, the Kirichwa, has been polluted so much and it stinks. And also the power bills have increased. And also there's shanties are coming up. And yeah. So we also inquired what impact the irregular development has done to businesses, and this was people said: noise pollution and also traffic jam. People feel like there needs to be an improvement. They also feel like we also feel like our taxes are not doing much for us, and some people are already planning on leaving. And some have had to seek other sources of water. And Kilimani, some feel like it has been troublesome in other areas compared to Kilimani, but that doesn't mean we should just accept. There's also the issue of power and businesses, especially for the people who enjoy from densification, but also there are some impacts. Utility bills have increased, and also burglaries and inconsistent water supply. So in general, the quality of life in Kilimani has decreased. So we rated our MCA, and 28.7 were very dissatisfied, 46.7 were dissatisfied, and 26 were neutral. In short, no one was satisfied with his services. So the reasons: new developments, again, there's no visible change in Kilimani. There is no channel of communication with the office, and also he doesn't support residents, but he did show up for the Mbaazi. And but he hadn't done anything behind the scenes, so that is where we are saying there's no support. And wow. So yeah, the next one is the police station. So at least 46.7 are neutral, 13.3 are satisfied, 13.3 again are very satisfied, 13.3 are very dissatisfied, and 13.3 again are dissatisfied. So the reasons is that they are not taking any action on the illegal cropping of kiosks everywhere. There is also slow or no response to distress, but they also seem to be in touch. We have a security group in Kilimani, so that is why a bit of the people feel satisfied. So they are in touch. But also people are empathizing because it seems like they face political interference. So some have been seen patrolling, they are cooperating, but they seem to also be having constraints on their end. They are proactive, security has been efficient, and but their service, their customer support is not available. But also the Kilimani OCS has been very instrumental in responding to our concerns. The customer service at the station is good, but the police on the streets are always asking for chai. So I think they are the reason for the dissatisfaction. So the next is the rating for how we feel about the security in Kilimani area. So 26.7 feel it has improved. 33.3 feel that it has worsened, and that is a rise from our last survey. So security is getting worse. The next one is the Nairobi Water and Sewer Company. 33.3 are neutral, 13.3 are satisfied, 40 are very dissatisfied, and 13.3 are dissatisfied. So the satisfaction rate has decreased from last year, the survey we did. So the reasons are people mostly rely on borehole and bowsers. Water is supplied once a week. There's erratic water shortages, and when water comes back, it's not clean. Their database is not updated, so people get so many arrears. Quantities are diminishing, so there's also poor infrastructure and corruption. They have improved their services and now are easily accessible. So in some areas within Kilimani, they have water regularly, and they have improved in communication. Then constant sewer effluent into the river, so the river stinks. So most people don't have water, especially in Wood Avenue. So I don't know if we have the ward admin office here. Wood Avenue has complained for water shortages for almost 2 years now. So the next one is the rating for, okay, so we wondered where do people get water if the Nairobi Water is not supplying. So most are using water from boreholes, and at least 46.7 have boreholes, and the rest are relying on vendors. So again, this shows the impact we have on the rocks and the, what do we call it? the water table in Kilimani. So the rating on service delivery on the power, KPLC, so 33.3 were satisfied, 6.7 were satisfied, 13.3 were very dissatisfied, 13.3 again were dissatisfied, and at least 33.3 are neutral. So that was a drop from last year. So I think as developments keep increasing in Kilimani, the level of service delivery keep dropping. So power has become too expensive. Some people have experienced fewer outages. They do respond to calls. So we have Antonina, and I believe that is why some people feel the overall delivery of KPLC in Kilimani has improved. So sometimes the good is service. The service is good, but billing is a bit dodgy. Yeah. So we feel like the lightest shower shouldn't be causing power to go off. But we also know that that is a national-wide problem. So there is also the Kura, the people in charge of our roads. So 33% were neutral, 26.7 were dissatisfied, and 33.3 were very dissatisfied. So the satisfaction rating for the roads are 6.7. I think that accounts for the heavy machinery that is being used for the construction of the increasing high rises. So something needs to be done. There is potholes everywhere. So we'll go to the reasons, and potholes are one of them. And some people feel the roads are fine. So people feel that the trucks and the developers should be held liable because they are the ones who are destroying the roads. So some roads are not safe, especially Chania and Wood Avenue. So the same people who are experiencing water problems, Wood Avenue, are also having issues with the roads. So I think that is majorly because of the developments that are going on there, Akina Al Shujaa Mall. Then there is There is the state of roads. The roads, 53.3 people feel they haven't improved. 40 feel they have improved, and a small percentage feel they're not sure. They're not sure whether the state of roads have improved. So the next one is the chief's office. So this one was one of the most exciting. So the Kilimani chief, at least 80%, they're not neutral. They don't know where he stands. 13.3 dissatisfied, but at least the other percentage is satisfied. So he's good. He's visible sometimes, but sometimes we don't know if he's a double agent. So that's why some people are dissatisfied. But he is active and available. So the reasons for rating is there is no action being taken on noise pollution. There are so many illegal bus stops and kiosks. Some of them haven't interacted with him. Others don't even know where his offices are. And he's very proactive to some. And we also know that political interference might affect how he works. He seems to be engaged with the community, but he's unresponsive to some requests. And he could do more to advocate for residents. So the other one is the NEMA. So NEMA, again, is the opposite, very dissatisfied. 80% people are angry at NEMA. 13.3 are neutral, and the rest are very dissatisfied. So no one is satisfied with NEMA because we know they are the reasons we're in such a mess. So the reasons, they approve the nightclubs, and they continue to do the same. There is a lot of noise pollution and releasing of raw sewage in rivers. So there's also, the main reason is noise pollution and their failure to manage and enforce sanitary treat environment. So they are weak in law enforcement. That is practically it. So the next one is for the NCA, the National Construction Authority. So again, no one was satisfied with their services. 60% were very dissatisfied, 26% were very also dissatisfied, 13.3 were neutral. Some of them don't know whether the NCA and the NEMA, some of their, what do we call it? People are not, some people, I found their responses mentioning that they're not sure some of the roles are coinciding. So maybe some of the developments are falling through the cracks because of the unclear roles. So the reasons are no value for land rates paid. So zero work, they don't do anything for they just collect revenue. So the City Hall doesn't work except to rubber stamp illegal construction and liquor licenses. Okay, Mbazi people mentioned that despite there being an injunction, no one from the City Hall followed up to see that it had been enforced. So that might be true. They just rubber stamp things and they never follow up. So there's no improvement of any services. They are responsible for messing Nairobi and turning it into a concrete jungle by disregarding zoning regulations. So the root of corruption, the licenses for illegal developments and bars. So in short, they are not delivering anything. So the next one is the sub-county Dagoretti, where that is the office of the sub-county led by the sub-county admin. And 60% were neutral, 20% are satisfied, 13% are very dissatisfied, and a few are dissatisfied. So I might say the rating there for the neutral is because our ward admin is a bit new. But the previous ones have been very helpful. So the basic infrastructure has not expanded with the population. It's the same problems. So we have unresolved pending reports. Some don't feel the effect of his presence. And also some feel that there's too much political interference. I hope that is something we can talk about, political interference and how it's messing things up. So there's also failure to control irregular developments and not ensuring that planning regulations are followed. As you might know, he's the overall, the one who oversees service delivery. So we are yet to see his too much effect on that. So the next one is satisfaction on the enforcement of zoning guidelines. So everyone is so mad at these because it's like they don't exist. So the recommendations for public service delivery, at least consultative forums to discuss issues. People want the government, the agencies to deliver and to work according to their roles. Just do the job and stop eating the money allocated. Remove political interference. Sack the entire corruption approval team and conduct a thorough investigation. So people would like to see better provision of services. People would like them to improve or to increase responsiveness, stop developments until maybe the proper guidelines are put in place. The relevant authority should have an inspection process that include physical visits. Yeah, and give feedback. So the changes, there are some changes that have been witnessed in Kilimani. Some roads being resurfaced and pedestrian pavements built. So some roads have been worked on. There have been more walkways. There's more public engagement. Dennis Street Market has been redeveloped. Haron, for those who might not know, he's our sub-county admin. He has brought a positive change. Kilimani has become much cleaner, maybe in their areas because some others are a bit dirty. More trees and good cooperation from government officials. Yeah, the county government has been also donating trees, seedlings to our Grey to Green team. Community coming together more and more. We had the Mbaazi and the Likoni people demonstrating and stopping and taking some good action. There is also increased community action, cleaning, planting trees, and also other interactive community events. There's sidewalks, drainage cleanups, lighting well. I think our able honorable governor recruited a team that is cleaning up our drainage, especially before the El Nino. There is also improvement on Turbo Road and the formation of the Kenya Power Group. Yeah, Kilimani, there was a formation of Kenya Power KPLC group, and that has helped with the issues of power. So now that is it with the service delivery. Now you know who is working and who is not. And now we'll go to the next forum.
Thank you for that, Mary. Can we clap for her? Okay. I see a few more people have come in. So before we go to the panel session, I'll just introduce myself again. So I'm Beverly Musili. I'm the Executive Director of the Kilimani Project Foundation. We are a membership association. So feel free, I really encourage you to join our membership. It allows us to organize these kind of forums and also organize different activities that we do with the officials and our duty bearers. So it's just 2,400 individual, 12,000 for SMEs and 48,000 for corporates. So if you have any questions and would like to find out how you can join us, what kind of platforms, events you'll be invited to, feel free to reach out to me or to Juliet, who's there. Yeah, so let me welcome Irene, who can take over the next session. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Bev. What you forgot to mention is that the subscription is annual. Yeah, they might think it's per hour. It's for the whole year. It's for the whole year, which comes to 200 bob a month. Huh? Very affordable. So now we are moving on to the next session, which is the panel discussion. We have a panel that we put together of first and foremost residents from across the neighborhood, and then some professionals as well. We had invited the county admin, the very same Haron, who has been lauded not too long ago for being very efficient. He is not here. And that's one of my pet peeves, that the county officials never seem to honor our invites to such fora, and yet they are the accountable authorities. So I will just invite the panelists one by one. There was a guidance on faces, a face guidance. I'll start with Ben Kinara. Please join us on the podium. I'm not sure this podium is going to accommodate all of us, but we will try. Then Sonia Birdi. Followed by Fawcett Komolo. And Senator Sylvia Kasanga. Oh, I forgot to mention, Sonia is Honorable Sonia Birdi. She'll tell you why. And then finally, because the county admin is not represented this afternoon, I will invite Dr. Tuesday Gishuki, who sits on the Urban Planning Technical Committee. We'll put him to task for some of these approvals that they, but he's on our side. He's actually our representative from the residents' associations to the Urban Planning Technical Committee. We apologize, we have insufficient real estate. You see, we didn't do we did planning, but this is affecting the entire Kilimani. Even the panel cannot fit. And there's no green cover. So I will start from the far end. Dr. Gishuki, you will introduce yourself and tell us a bit, just maybe a minute, about yourself. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. I start with my height. Yeah, let me step down here. Yeah, I'm Dr. Tuesday Gichuki. I'm an architect of a very short standing, only about 44 years standing. I have been in these residents associations for a long time. Around 2000, we started what we call We Can Do It, which moved out to Kara. So I represent residents associations in the technical planning committee of the county government. Was from last November. I'm ready for roasting.
Thank you, Dr. Fawcett.
Thank you, Irene. Good morning. My name is Fawcett Komodo. I am the president of the Kenya Institute of Planners, and I have come to engage with wananchi who are our clients. And the Kenya Institute of Planners represents planners both in private practice and planners in government, and those in the county government. So some of these fellows that you're always bashing are our members, and I'll take some hits on their behalf today. Feel free to let go and let's engage. Allow me to just suggest that I have also invited two of my friends who are planners as well, or whom I thought will be very relevant for this meeting. Madam Jess, you want to just rise up and say hi?
Good morning. My name is Jacinta Mbilo. I'm an urban planner in the private practice. Thank you, President.
Thank you.
Hamjambo. My name is Patrick Adolo. I am a planner and urban specialist.
Thank you. Just briefly about me is that I pride myself to be a practitioner. A practitioner is a practitioner and also a researcher. So there's something we call praxis. And this is sort of the union between research and practice. It's a bit of a murky kind of interface, but I hope that it should add value for the discussions that we're going to have. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I am architect Sylvia Mweni Kasanga. I think on the flyer, I have been represented as a fellow of the Chartered Institute of Arbitrators. And just a little bit about that, we are dispute resolvers at the Institute. So at any one time in the association or wherever you are, if you require mediators or arbitrators, you can reach out to us. That is our work. And yeah, we promote ADR. Let's do things away from court as far as we can. Secondly, I am the president of the Architects, the Architects Alliance, which is a newly formed association for architects. We recently launched, and we want to have a national dialogue on matters architecture, planning, and the built environment. And lastly, I have practiced architecture for 22 years, largely here in Nairobi, so I understand the conversations that are happening here, and I'm ready to engage. Thank you.
What Sylvia is not telling you is that she was a senator in the previous government. She forgot that. And also a resident of Gitanga Road.
Good morning, everyone. God is good. I'm all the time. Wonderful. My name is Sonia Birdi. I'm going to start by saying that I am a Kenyan. I'm a resident of Rafta Road, which is confused between Westlands and Dagoretti North, but we are in Dagoretti North. Today I'm representing the residents of Rafta Road and the surrounding areas who have been affected by, I would call them goons and thugs, who came into our area literally about 3 weeks ago and started breaking down buildings and just doing things willy-nilly. So ours is a very new, the residents on Rafta Road and surrounding areas just had a very serious wake-up call. But then, as you know, we are facing general apathy. We can call it people apathy, resident apathy, voter apathy. So my presence here today is by virtue of being a resident of that area. One of my previous hats, I was nominated in 2013 to be a member of parliament. I vied in Makadara, which was then the area of our previous Governor Sonko. So after that, I have been very vocal, present within my community, which is the larger Asian community in our country. I now am an advisor to the Sikh Council of Africa, as well as a person responsible for giving education facilities to children. I am happy that Madam Irene has arranged this event this morning. It is going to give us a chance to inform everybody of what is happening, and hopefully we can spell it out as it is, so that the people who are watching us today, they know that this is serious business. So thank you very much once again.
Thank you, Sonia.
Good morning, everyone. Still morning, I think. My name is Bernard Mogaka Kinara. You can call me Ben. I am the chairman of Mbazi Avenue Residents Association. It's actually Mbazi and Hendred, because some of the residents of Hendred Road, which goes all the way behind Valley Arcade, asked to join and be part of us. So it's actually Mbazi and Hendred Avenue Residents Association. I'm glad to see some people here who are affiliated with us, including my brother and my mom over there. Just want to recognize them. There's Sam Ogot, who is a very active resident as well. And I can see Moturi there, who is a social media expert. And Jeff, who from Langata, Loresho, sorry, he joined us in our maandamano that we had a couple of weeks ago. I think of myself at this point as a mobilizer, not by choice, but it just happened to be because we had these guys coming to offensively dig a very large basement to be in our area, and it was against the guidelines. It was with pure impunity, and yeah, I'm really grateful that people showed up and were able to, for now, temporarily stop it. Thanks.
Okay, finally, I'll introduce myself. My name is Irina Gutu. I am an architect and the pillar head for the Kilimani Plan Development Committee. So basically, what the Plan Development Committee does on a day-to-day basis is, like you so keep track of the sort of developments that are coming up within our neighborhoods, and intervene when we can, when developers are going wrong, encourage the developers who are doing things right. Well, unfortunately, so far there's been almost 0% in those who are doing things right, but we look at both sides of the divide, and of course also defend the rights of the residents. So just by the fact that we have an almost full room, there's a problem in Kilimani. Are we right? Kuna shida? There's a problem, huh? There's a problem. So I'll start by asking one of the conveners of the residents. I'll not start with our jurisdiction. We have invited people outside of our jurisdiction so that we can also hear the experiences. Sonia comes from Raptor Road, which is on the other side of Westlands. Sonia, in very few words, tell us about your experience and why it is that you have felt the need to rise up and fight back.
Thank you, Lillian. Thank you, Irene. I beg your pardon. So as a child, I was born and raised up in South Sea. I witnessed the buildings coming up, the illegal nonsense that was going on there as a young child. My father took the decision to move to Westlands, and that was one of the reasons that got me to voice my concerns. The other one is living on Rafta Road and its surrounding areas. Rafta Road has been predominantly a quiet, peaceful area, green, and it has its issues, but so far a very good place to be. All of a sudden, like I said 3 weeks ago, unlike Kilimani projects, who had already anticipated some problem coming up because you had the right kind of professionals who were with you, we were caught off guard. So much so that residents had to sleep outside their houses for one night. Their utilities were broken as lorries were going inside the property. They had no internet, they had no water, they had no electricity. Now this was for a whole weekend. Onto a property that had no licenses issued, no EIAs was conducted, and I felt that the residents of my area were being taken for a ride. Because anybody, the response that I received from anyone whom I consulted with was not normal to me. You know, one thing you cannot do is be your own doctor. So I realized the residents of Rafta Road were going to the wrong doctors. They were going to the wrong doctors and they were not advised. They were going to people who are responsible for parklands the way it is today. They were going to the people who are going across into another jurisdiction to help developers tick the boxes so that they can go on with this impunity. They were going into properties that already had injunctions. You're not supposed to go in them. I saw a lot of illegal activity. And so, in short, Irene, mine was a journey where I saw it was time to get up and to, yes, mobilize, talk to people, assure them. You have to assure them that whatever you're doing is for their betterment. Unfortunately, our people generally don't have a very good sense of security amongst the people who represent them. And the reason is that there's so much of corruption going on all around. Due to the Cobra effect, we don't know who is in it or who's not. When we go and complain to a senior authority, like maybe even in CID, we get no response. When residents are intimidated and they're attending a public baraza and they're being intimidated, that is wrong. When residents don't seem to find any solution to their problems and they are forced to go away from where they're living, that is wrong. When residents are forced to pay for basic services like water and electricity, and they still don't get their utilities, that is wrong. Mine here today is to raise the awareness and also to cement the fact that Nairobians, they are people out there who are not as corrupt as others. You need to do your fact-checking before you go and sign and stand with anyone. So mine is to reassure people out there that the right way to go about this is not to be intimidated. Would you believe, Irene, we were intimidated. We as people who were present somewhere were intimidated to the fact to be asked, are you a resident association? Are you a registered association? Which, in my opinion, you don't have to be a registered anything. As long as you are present there, you're a resident, you have people around you, could be anybody. As long as you're a resident there, you have an opinion, you don't need to be. You have to just make sure that you have your rights addressed. I don't know if that is short enough.
Yes, that is indeed actually...
Yes, or detailed?
Very detailed, and what I'm grateful about is the fact that you've topped it up with the fact that we have a right as residents at all times. So there is this animal called public participation that has been, I'm sure, just by, a show of hands in the room, all of us here have been invited to some public participation or other, at least in the past 2 years or so. This animal called public participation, what does it mean? And what have our experiences been as residents? I'll allow Ben Kinara to speak of his experience with the public participations that have been held at Mbaazi.
Thanks again. So public participation, I think, is a good thing. It's a good thing that we have in Kenya because it provides a forum for residents or concerned parties, stakeholders, whoever they are, to voice an opinion, and it is part of the process. So I think it's not like all hope is lost. The fact that we have that procedure in place is a good thing, and we can turn that animal to our favor. We had one public participation at Metricon, which is the site or the developer, the Chinese developer that's along Mbaazi Avenue. And the first time we had it, we turned out, the people turned out in good numbers. And the developer actually had a tent there and was following the process very well. The result, of course, was that we didn't like what they were doing. We said, you need to come back with plans that are compliant. So after that public participation, that initial Chinese developer saw that they were not going to be able to, and this was even before any excavations, so they actually sold the same plot to another Chinese developer. And I'm not singling out any particular community. It could be any developer from Pakistan or Kenyans or whatever it was. So this second developer was not as, can I say, pleasant or following the rules. This one had a very good plan, a backdoor plan, we believe, because initially they got a NEMA approval, but according to the NEMA process, you can contest the approval within, I think, within 3 months? Yeah, within 3 months you can, yes, they have a tribunal, but we didn't know that they got that NEMA approval, right? So 3 months later, it came to our attention that they'd gotten a NEMA approval, so they got around that hurdle already. Before we knew
what you're telling us is that there's withholding of information.
Yes.
We are invited to public participations, and yet information that is critical, that is crucial for us to participate effectively is withheld from us.
Exactly. So having had now the NEMA approval, they managed to get the Nairobi City Council approval. That also was hidden from us. We didn't know. We thought, we were still there, kind of happy. And I must say, at that time, I was not, I was in the committee, but, we had some characters in our committee who appeared to be compromised as well, who knew about it, right? So we had to have a reshuffle. We had a total reshuffle in our committee, and, things changed. And the new developer, I think, is quite a rogue developer, because even when you look at their WhatsApp status, they have two, the symbol of the devil there on their and I understand, maybe not going into the details, but this guy had all his approvals, and he started, he brought trucks and excavators and really started excavating, and we thought, what can we do about this? So we said, okay, let's go to court. So the neighboring Millennium Gardens, which is part of Mara, went to court with our support, and they got an injunction, and they were happy. We have an injunction, the serikali imeongea, right? But guess what? The next day, things went ahead as usual. The construction continued, the excavation. Right now, there's a pool that has formed there because of the rains. It looks really, really bad. So the excavation continued, and we agreed as a team that if injunctions are not working, letters from the city council are not working, then we gave ourselves, I think, a week. Let's observe what's happening, and then we said we're going to come out. But you see, the hard part is mobilizing people. We had a few people who, were saying we're going to do this. Some was like, we're definitely going to go and march. And some people were, what do we do next? I think what helped a lot was the fact that we were an organized team. We got a location where we could meet from. So we had a good location where we could actually have our meetings. We added more members to our group. If you look at the whole of Mbazi Avenue, it probably has 10,000 residents, probably 20 compounds. But we managed to just grow our numbers. And when you grow the numbers, there are more and more people who are willing to, you'll find people who are willing to come out. So we said, we're going to have this demonstration on this day. We planned to have a truck because we knew that it might actually get bloody. So we looked for a truck. We secured one just in case we need to go and park it there, because we can't have people demonstrating outside that site while there are trucks coming in and out and excavators. So we were ready with a truck just in case. So that morning, I think someone tipped off from our committee. We think we had a mole in our committee. Someone tipped off so the trucks were cleared for some reason that morning, and we could have our demonstration. But still, we're thinking maybe the next day they'll come back. But what will actually stop these guys? So money talks, right? Money talks, and we don't have money. Raising even the money to get that truck, 40,000, 42,000, just raising that money is difficult. So money talks. You're not competing because 512 apartments may be selling at 4 million each. You're talking about 1.7 billion, right? So there's big money involved in this. So we didn't have money to compete with that. So we resorted to media, because money talks, but media also talks equally as loud. And I'm very happy that we were able to engage the media. We called the media. We spent our money on the media. We got social media team coming out. So our Maandamano, I think a lot of you people saw it. We tagged Sakaja in it. We tagged the Chinese embassy in it. We tagged the developer in it. So it went around. And I think that's something that, helped a lot, because they have not come back. So I think that's one good strategy, is to use the media to do some activity and get as many people there to attend. And I think we need to keep doing that. I remember talking to another Chinese developer. We've had other developers actually who have stopped. We had a Kenyan developer on one of the lanes and managed to stop them. And they listened. Immediately we did a petition and a public a petition. They signed it. No problem. They didn't come back. But this other developer, I remember talking to her and saying, you guys are spoiling the name of Chinese in Kenya. She became red. She literally turned red because no one wants their name spoiled. Yeah, that was I realized when I saw her turning red, I said, aha, this is going to work. We're going to anika our watu. Yeah, we're going to put them out there. And it seems that has been what has been working for us. Thanks.
Thanks, Ben. So what I'm hearing from Ben is, yes, organized money. There's organized money within this development sphere, but my belief is that organized communities can beat organized money, as has been demonstrated. Now, having said that, definitely, this is the country with laws. We have laws. This is not a banana republic. So indeed, we have a zoning policy that's in force, or should be in force. I'll allow our planner on the panel Fawcett Komolo to tell us a bit about the zoning guidelines and why it is that we are floating them so with impunity, left, right, and center, from his professional opinion.
Thank you. That's the reason why I carried some mercenaries to help me around. Patrick, you have more experience than me in this city. And as Patrick comes to speak to this, allow me to say that I liked the presentation that was done just here on the scorecard of, is it service delivery? And that was really, really awesome. It's something that I would love to have in our community there in Donholm. But there's some factual errors that were made in that presentation. I hope I'm not being rude, but she said that zoning regulations are being flaunted. I wanted to ask which zoning regulations?
We all believe there are.
Patrick, those are the answers that I want you to give, please.
I hope I'm not being stood up for hanging because I don't represent the city county. And I don't work for the city county. I worked for the city county about 20 years ago. And the architect is speaking about planning regulations or zoning regulations. And you say there are zoning regulations. How do you know there are zoning regulations? How do you know that there are zoning regulations? Everybody who drives on the road knows that there's a traffic code, okay? And it seems to be obvious and very clear that when people drive on the highway, they know that there is a traffic code, speed limits, and so on and so forth. Why is it that it's not so obvious that there is a development code in any area? And that is part of the problem, because it seems like, how many people know that there is a development code in Kilimani? You do. You do. But what is it based on? Because that's the ultimate question. I mean, there is a new plan for Nairobi, not very new, 2014, yes. Approved 2014, new plan, right?
Yes.
I tried to do that plan very many years ago. From 2002, that plan materialized in 2014. How many years? It took 12 years to make a plan. So you can imagine what happens when you try to make a plan in Nairobi. So it's overtaken by events. So do you still believe Tuesday that that plan is relevant? I'm just asking, because these are the things that we need to be asking ourselves. There is a new plan.
We are having an open discussion here. So
but it is an overall
put on the spot, let him answer.
I'm not putting him on the spot. I'm trying to get perspective to these discussions, okay? I want people to understand, because we're not here to talk to people as professionals amongst ourselves. We want people to understand that when you have an overall city plan, it has to be broken down into area-specific development plans. Now, have we climbed down from the new plan, which is an overall development strategy for the city? Have we climbed down to the neighborhood? I want to put it to you. You're struggling in a very amorphous environment. There is no definition of anything in that space. In fact, I dare you to tell them that you are grappling with something that is neither here nor there. You're in this ubiquitous space that is undefined. You're just groping around. Even when somebody tells you there is a code, a zoning regulation, that person is not telling you the truth. It's a fluid situation. Okay? Because what does it speak to? You haven't come down to this neighborhood to define a specific area neighborhood development strategy. That's what you need to do. And when I hear people talking about zoning, I cringe, because this is also one of those misconceptions. You know, I mean, zoning is a very simple concept, that you separate activities in space by defining what activity goes here, what activity goes there, what activity goes there. But in some zoning approaches, you can say this is a mixed development zone. But when you say mixed, it's not Mashakura. Macho? Mashakura. It's not Mashakura. There is a logic to what you call mixed development. Now, I want you to come up and help me, because we said, let's help people to understand what Kilimani should do. And that is why, personally, I think Nairobi needs municipalities. Not those people. No, forget about boroughs. That's London, that is New York. We have the Urban Areas and Cities Act, and it talks about municipalities. Okay, don't go invent things that don't exist. Let us use our
Sounds
own
cool.
things. Okay, let us use our own things. The reason why you're meandering, swimming, dancing all over the place is because you don't even have an area development, an area management, an area administration. You don't have a community. I'm sorry to say this, I'm putting it rather strongly. I know you'd love to call this Kilimani community. But a community is built around schools, churches, malls, leaders, and all these things. But how many schools does Kilimani have?
Public or private?
Public. 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 How many schools does Kilimani have? First of all, what's the population of Kilimani? 42,000. What is the requirement for an area to be declared a municipality? What is the threshold? 50,000. You are just 8,000 people short of a municipality. How many schools does a municipality require? What is the last time a public primary school was built in Kilimani? Before the majority of you were born. Okay? What is the last time a secondary school was built in Kilimani?
There is none.
You don't even have a secondary school. Milimani. Okay? How long has that been? It's the only secondary school that has St. George's too. Okay? In how many years? In 50 years?
Probably more.
Probably 100 years. So why are we talking about a place? We cannot define a place without facilities. How do you call this a community when it doesn't have those particular artifacts and social facilities that constitute a community? That's what we need to be talking about. Okay? And unless we define those spaces, it will be difficult. And then people will come and do this amorphous development that is not based on anything. Thank you.
I will challenge you on that slightly. Yes, I do agree that we do have an issue in defining our zoning guidelines. But there is a document, and I think Ben has got something here, the zoning policy that has been in force, or rather, should I say, well, they have a 10-year lifespan. The 2006, which defined Kilimani, Kileleshwa, Riverside as Zone 4. And the maximum number of floors has been 4. What happened to that?
2000, she talks about 2000 and the new plan is for 2000 and? That's my answer.
So in 2014, did the policy allow us to go beyond 4 floors?
No, the policy has been overtaken by a new plan.
Yes. So the new plan, which was never implemented.
No, there is a new plan that was approved in 2014.
Yes.
That plan requires redefinition. Kilimani requires to have an area development plan which speaks to Kilimani needs to redefine itself in accordance with the provisions of the new plan 2014. So that's a dead letter. In law, that's a dead letter.
Yes.
Okay? So anybody pursuing that, honestly, I mean, if somebody says we have a new plan which is approved, you'll find this to be superfluous. That would be the position in law. What I'm saying is, we in Kilimani need to be asking for our own local area development plan, which then will give us the new zoning, regulation, standards, codes, and so on and so forth. That's what we should be asking for.
It may interest you that has been one of the things we've been championing for. But now that's a detail that we'll go into.
Yes.
But I'll take you back. the new plan of 2014.
Yes.
It was approved.
Yes.
Was it ever implemented?
No, of course, that's what we're talking about, implementation.
Therein lies the problem.
But yes, implementing a plan means scaling it down, redefining spaces very carefully, doing something about the densities, introducing infrastructure, social and otherwise, and so on and so forth. That kind of work is not going on as we speak. Yes. And people are purporting to be developing spaces on the basis of a regulation of 2006, which is superfluous, in fact, illegal. It has been overtaken by events. So what we should be talking about is how to define our spaces in accordance with 2014, okay? And that's a legitimate claim we should be having, we should make at the moment.
True.
Any other discussion is actually, you'll be wasting time, because let's not talk 2006 when we have 2014 and we are at 2023.
Yes, we only have 1 more year to implement it, because it's got a 10-year lifespan.
Let's ask for a 2014 definition of this space. That's what we should be doing. That is proactive, and people will hear you. Yeah, and let's continue doing so. Or let us constitute ourselves and say we want to start this process of redefining Kilimani. Okay? That is what we need to do at the moment.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Now, Fawcett, you donated a lot of your time.
Yes.
So I will then now give a chance to the architects. Architect Sylvia Kasanga, what is the contribution of architects in the creation of this mess that we now live in your opinion?
Thank you, Architect Irene. Well, it all begins with approvals of architectural plans. That's where any development begins from. So architects are at the center of this, because otherwise you will not get your drawings approved. You can't move. And architects become the agents of the developer at City Hall. So we are the ones who engage with City Hall on behalf of the client. Well, some clients do have their own access, of course, but technically, we are the agents. We are the ones on record as the agents. So it is us who apply, who make the application. So if there is a building that has an issue, there's an architect who should be able to explain, why are these stamped drawings coming from your office, in this manner? Yet, this is the policy, although now I hear there's no policy, so clearly, now the picture is now different now suddenly. It seems like I cannot hold somebody to account because there is none. But at the same time, you can get beyond that, because we know what happens. We apply, we are beyond what we think is the zoning policy or regulation, but somehow you're able to get past that and get your approvals. Because, they're still going on these buildings. Yeah. So clearly, the problem is even bigger than probably I had. Part of our conversations in the Architects Alliance is we're asking this question as to why us architects have reached to that point where I can't just say no to a client. Yeah. Me, I know I've lost projects. I know there are some people who cannot come to my office because I'll tell them this one we cannot do. I don't want my name appended to a structure like this one that has no circulation. There's no lighting into the building because you've packed everything so together. There's nowhere for children to play. But even if I don't do it, somebody else will do it. And that's what has happened. There's always somebody ready to take that little check and get to do what that person, the developer, wants. So we're having a very big problem. I think it's a big societal problem, and we need to engage with ourselves as Kenyans. But one of the challenges that I like to give ourselves as professionals as we go forward, and this is not just architects only. I keep saying that as professionals, we have refused to engage in the public discourse. And part of the reasons why we are having these problems today is our lack of participation in the public discourse, including leadership. Where leadership is required, we always take a back seat. When we are called for public participation, we take a back seat. Then we come to react afterwards when things have been done. And that is why you can have leaders, Architect Irene, you'll call these leaders, you'll call these people at City Hall, We are the ones who pay them with our taxes, but they don't come because they've learned to get away with it anyway. Mutadu, you know, mutadu, what will you do? But it is very wrong. And one thing I'm very happy about, Irene, and what you're doing in Kilimani project, because this wake-up call is absolutely necessary. When we went to vote, I voted here at St. George's, and I remember how empty the lines were this last election. We just didn't engage. Then here we are sitting wondering, why are these people not listening to us? We didn't even vote for them. Many of us didn't go to vote. We didn't vote for them. Now you want them to listen to you? I mean, I think we are being called today, and this is what I like about this forum, that it's time for us to engage. First as Kenyans, and secondly, professionals. This is my call. Even when we meet as the Architects Alliance, we are saying, we need to wake up all the, let's wake us all up. Architects should be at the center of City Hall, if you ask me. Because why should somebody else be approving the architect's drawings who is not an architect? Although now I know we have a co-opted architect into the UPTC.
He is not there in his capacity as
an architect. But at least he's an architect. At least there's something. But the situation is so bad around the country, even in the counties. You will find the people who are approving architectural drawings are not architects. So I'm wondering, what are they really looking at? How do they even understand anything? How then will we save our country from all these challenges we have? The other thing that we have a very big problem with is the affordable housing. I mean, we are constantly talking about the affordable housing. What sort of architectural expression is this we are giving our own people? Is this how we want to house ourselves? You know, when you go to this one in Ngara, in fact, when all those blocks are finally built, what is that? What are we doing to ourselves as human beings, providing ourselves such structures, calling ourselves, we are housing ourselves. You're housing yourself in a place where you'll be constantly sick mentally and physically sick because there's no air flowing, there's no light, there's no this. Your children have nowhere to engage. What are we creating really, you know? So the picture now, after this conversation with Aladwa, now I remember him because when I started my career, we used to meet up at City Hall. Let me tell you, the picture is now even worse after what I've heard from Aladwa, that here in Nairobi, Adolwa, sorry, planner. The picture is even worse because we seem to be moving without a plan. We seem to be moving without a vision. There's nothing as bad as, I mean, how do you plan to get somewhere when there's no plan? That means you're going nowhere. We're going around in circles. So
actually, as somebody said,
yeah,
a bad plan is worse than no plan.
Than no plan. So I think as citizens, we have work to do. I like what Mbazi Avenue you have done. By the way, we have no choice. We are going to get to the streets. Yep. Whether we like it or not, we are going to go to the streets if we are going to have action. And it is for our own good, as you can see. I think architect will speak to maybe some of the policies that are going to be approved over this weekend. If you hear about those ones now, you'll just want to die. So when you hear about it, please, can we plan a mandamano? And a serious one, because if those policies are approved, then disaster is on its way. What you've seen, you've not seen anything yet. I think that's what I can say for now, Irene. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Architect Kasanga. I will now trickle down to where the problems all begin. The Urban Planning Technical Committee, which is domiciled in the Nairobi City County. So Architect Tuesday Gishuki sits on the Urban Planning Technical Committee, but he sits there in his representation of KARA, which is the Kenya Association of Residents Associations, Alliance of Residents Associations. He's not there as an architect, in his capacity as an architect. So, Dr. Gishuki, please tell us, how do we get to a place where some of these monstrosities, because that is what I'll call them, for that is what they are, how do they get approved?
Now, how do they get approved? Very simple, somebody signs. Enough. However, on a serious note, I'll start with what my fellow architect here said, the role of the architects. We have cases of architects misrepresenting the development. For instance, there's a 10-story hotel in Mugoya within a comprehensive scheme, which during the application process was shown as being in Olesangale Road, which is in Madaraka. That was a deliberate misrepresentation. Now, because it's on Olesangale, the technical officer looking at this approves that that's okay. If it was shown to be in Mugoya, you will not have had that chance to say, okay, approve a 10-story hotel. Okay?
But I have a challenge with that, Dr.
Yep.
The technical officer is in part of his duty to cross-check the facts.
Yes, that's part of his duty. But like Architect Kasanga said, how many of those people are qualified to do that? In fact, the problem goes back long ago. In 1984, when I was chairman of the Architects chapter, we were dealing with exactly the same problem. And we signed an MOU with the county government, the city council then, to have architects volunteer to sit in the panel which was scrutinizing the plans. We also introduced an affidavit which an architect was to sign to confirm that what he's presenting is accurate and that he or she will ensure that construction will be according to regulations, taking personal liability. That somehow seems to have dropped on the way. So it becomes, we don't have competent people to do the approvals. We now don't have honest architects presenting the drawings. And then there's money running around. Actually, you can call City Hall a crime scene because money more than regulations play a hand in it. There's an issue the planners brought up about there being no plan. Actually, the last legal instrument we could use for development control was the Development Control Ordinance of 2004, which expired in 2014. Since then, everybody has been having a field day. You can't accuse me of approving something contrary to the zoning regulations because there aren't any. They died in 2014.
So can we then assume that the lack of updating some of these regulations is actually deliberate?
Yes, I can say that without fear of contradiction. Because we have tried, I've sat in this committee for the last 11 months, and we've tried to bring sense into it. But you find there's resistance at all levels. Right now, there's the land use policy, development control policy, and I can't remember the third one, which are going to be before the assembly next week. The sectoral committee is going to Naivasha or Nakuru tomorrow, and will be ready on Wednesday back with everything approved. Now, what do these policies include? There was no public participation, as it were. Whatever was there was very superficial. But we tried. When I say we tried, I'm also the chairman of South Sea Residents Association. So we've been trying at all levels to see how we can contribute to this. The document which was presented for public participation is not the same as the document before the assembly. There were changes made along the way. For example, in South Sea, in the comprehensive schemes like Mugoya and Akiba and so on, where you have minimum plot sizes, they have changed it to say you can do up to 8 stories. Whereas in the introduction to that policy, they say comprehensive schemes will not be affected. We've made presentations on this, but we never get feedback as to how they have handled that. So there's a chance that next week we shall no longer be saying there's no policy they are following, but it will be a very detrimental policy. Yes. So I think it's time we all stood up and said, let's do the right thing.
What he's saying is that there's mandamano loading, eh?
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
there's sections of Upper Hill that have been marked for 75 floors
Yes.
on a
10 by 15.
a 10 by 15 plot. Yes, 75 floors. And Kilimani up to 25, willy-nilly. Basically, there is no rationale. The public participation that he speaks of, a number of us attended it. It was a farcical exercise, for lack of a better word. Yes, planner. Maybe you can correct us somewhere.
I'm getting a little agitated because I think people are messing around with what I consider to be my space. An architect, I need to call you out for saying some things that are not true, okay? There are people who know what they are looking for when they approve plans. So please don't misrepresent it. It's not fair to other professionals. It's not good. So, do we have a context in which plans are approved? You're saying that the county government is considering a policy. That's another problem loading. Okay? That's another problem loading, Sylvia. Because it's going to be amorphous. You need to define spaces. I mean, look, I've been doing a new city called Konza. What do we have? We've defined every inch of that territory and given every plot its densities, ratios, everything. We have done it. And it can be done for any space in Nairobi. But someone is not doing it. And it's a question of leadership. Gentlemen, ladies, let me tell you, what we are looking at here is a problem, a leadership gap. It's not a technical problem. It is not. And I think that's what we need to be thinking about. If we do not have the correct leadership at the county government, if we do not have the right representation, it doesn't matter what you technical people want to do with your engineering, with your architecture, with your planning. I'm telling you, that is what we are having to deal with here. As long as that situation prevails, you'll be a straitjacket. But Kilimani can make a decision, can say, we are going to begin doing something about an area-specific development plan. That's okay. So don't stop. Push it. Tell whoever is representing you, if he's an MCA, probably not very well versed in complex urban development issues, tell him, you are going to define your development in Kilimani on the basis of the infrastructure and services you need, okay, facilities and so on and so forth, not just real estate development. This discussion we're having here, I'm sorry, is about real estate development. And it asks me, it makes me very angry because we're only thinking about one side of this entire business, real estate. Yes, but there is more to urban development than real estate. There is development of communities, and we must go back to developing this city the way it was envisaged. Otherwise, you've given it up to the cartels, and the cartels will do everything they want, and the leadership of the city will help them because it's about money. It's a big money industry that we must take care of.
Yeah, I think I must respond to this.
Please make it very quick because we are running out of time.
Because when you talk of lack of facts without backing yourself up, it's not fair. Because I've worked in City Hall myself before, and I'm sitting there looking at what is being presented for approval. How many architects are in the planning department? The architects department was disbanded. Okay?
I think it goes back. It goes back to what you said. We need the correct people.
Yes.
We need the correct people doing the correct job. And that's what is. That's what is defining.
No. We do not operate in silos. When as a planner you are saying we can put a 75-story building on a 15 by 10 plot, you have not looked at what kind of building are you going to put. You need an architect's input. If you look at Petronas Towers in Kuala Lumpur, which is 3 stories high, it actually sits on 40 acres of land, not on 500 square meters. It requires the input of an architect, a planner, an engineer. That is what we are lacking in the development control section.
Very true. Yes. I agree.
Yes.
I agree. There's a question. There's a lady who has a question. Yes. I will give you this.
I'm a librarian. I came to Kenya just after independence. Mrs. Ann Kinara. And I was a government librarian. And when I retired, I became the secretary of the Levington Residents Association 20 years ago. And I was thinking, well, there must be a document that sets down the policies for each area. And just then, they had finished an exercise which I thought was so good. I went to the city planning department upstairs, 3rd floor, City Hall, and they told me, oh, yeah, there is a document, so that this is the document. It is a kind of bylaws. A big exercise, just before I became a secretary, an exercise had been done by the city council, and they had gone all around the different suburbs of Nairobi. They had whatever residents associations were there. They had meetings in the primary school, like in Levington, they had a meeting in the Levington Primary School, and they set down the zones very specifically. In 2000, say maybe 2005, 2006, this document was approved by the council, city council in 2006. It sets out all the specifications, how far you can do, like how many apartments you can do, where there should be only dwellings. It was a perfectly beautiful document. It is, and so I thought lately, when we had problems in Wara, in Mbasi Avenue, I thought, oh my God, this is a very old thing. It is 2006, and I'm old also. And I thought, let me just go to the city planning people. Actually, we used to know, my brother is a city planner, and he came to visit, and he met the senior city planner, like also he's from something like 25 years ago. So, and I asked the senior planner, I said, is this still in force? This year, in the beginning of this year, he said, yes, we don't have anything else than this right now. Yeah, and then he was smiling at me with sort of a kind of mischievous smile. And he never talked about the new plan in 2014, although I heard rumors there was a plan. And then I thought, can I have that plan? I'm a librarian. I was a government librarian in the National Archives. You have the plan? It's online. Okay, and does it give zones or specifications? And there was no public participation for this one. There was public participation. That is what I'm now saying. Where is the law that there must be public participation?
Yeah.
Thank you.
I think that's a very good question. The public participation is covered by both the Fiscal Planning Act and the Constitution of Kenya. However, very deliberately, both Parliament and the county assemblies have refused to draw up regulations for public participation. So it becomes what I choose to say I've done public participation. There are no regulations at the moment. So it enables people to even forge minutes of a meeting which never existed and present and say there was public participation. These are among the issues we've been pushing very hard to try to have done so that there's a systematic way of dealing with things. Now, you came up with an interesting question.
Okay, I'll just give you 1 minute.
Yeah.
Because we need
Yeah.
to move on.
Yeah, you had a document of 206, and plans are supposed to be reviewed after 10 years. Ideally, in a situation which is normal, the status quo would remain as long as a new plan is not in place. But in our situation, it's not normal. We are actually having change of user in areas where the user were never defined as such, on a plot-by-plot basis. That brings so many problems, but money changes hands. This one I can say without fear of being accused of being inaccurate. I know it happens. And the people who are giving the money are saying so openly.
Very true. Very true. Planner, because we didn't give you quite a chance to speak after you donated your time.
Yeah.
Right now, we are in some sort of lacuna, in a sort of, purgatory of sorts.
Yeah.
Wait, what is the way forward? Please, in summary, what would you recommend as the way forward for the problem, the conundrum we are in at the moment?
Thank you. The reason why I like my friend Patrick is that he gives the prognosis. He doesn't just tell you where the problem is, but he does that with a finality. Now, plans are supposed to be prepared by the county governments. The Constitution gives the planning function to the county governments. That's in the 4th schedule of the Constitution, right? So, because that is the responsibility of the county governments, who is supposed to prepare plans? Planners within county governments, right? But not always. There's a practice where whenever county governments are incapable of preparing plans, they give out these, consultancies to private planning firms, which are actually multidisciplinary teams. You have architects who will help in defining things like ground coverage and plot ratios. You have engineers who will have to look at things like the building densities and masses that have to be built there. So it's usually, you also have sociologists who will have to look at those other community functions that Patrick was talking about. So because Kilimani doesn't have a plan, the plan that we are all talking about here is called the Zone 3, 4, and 5 review, which was done in 2006. It expired. So basically, those fellows at City Hall, they are members of the Kenya Institute of Planners. Others are members of the Architectural Association of Kenya. And those fellows are operating without any kind of guidelines, And because that is a problem, they will approve anything anywhere, and the chances are you will do nothing about it.
So what is the way forward?
Way forward is, we discussed this, and I want to give this to the Kilimani residents, that there is a chance that you can compel the city county to prepare plans by going to court to seek judicial help from the courts, for the courts to compel the counties to plan. And I think if, as Tuesday was talking about a policy that is going to be launched, is it going to be launched in Naivasha?
Yes, next week.
They are finalizing it in Naivasha so that the assembly passes it.
Okay, they are finalizing it for the assembly to pass it. Now, you should move with speed if this organization is functional. First of all, to proceed and seek for an injunction against that process, which is not procedural, to stop it. Meanwhile, if you feel that the kind of development approvals that are happening are also hurting you, because, look, your property values are affected, the community structure, the social fabric is affected. And the sad thing is that some of these people who are coming with these high density developments are not even citizens. They are not residents, let me put it that way. These are fellows who have their interests in Canada, in the UK, and in China. They come to build, sell, and go. Meanwhile, your community has been disrupted and destroyed beyond repair. Your property values are also there. Somebody tomorrow wakes up and does a 25-floor building just next door. What happens? You are compelled to sell, whether you like it or not. Maybe if you have money, then you could also do another 25 floors. Next, maybe they'll do 50, or 100. Because someone said,
what does that do to the environment?
What does that do to the environment? What does it do to the community? All right? So Kilimani has been one of those places where those of us who live in Eastlands wish that when we grow up, we want to live in Kilimani. Not anymore. All right? We want to go to Kitengela and beyond because Kilimani has become a lost cause. Is it? I don't want to give a prognosis like Patrick, but I'm saying that you can organize yourselves and compel the county to prepare plans for you. Now, there are two options that you can follow. If the county does not have money, because Patrick mentioned something that I think you guys can consider, that it is a problem of leadership. Planning is about a vision. And this vision has to be led by somebody who champions it. So if there is no champion for the planning vision, then you guys can, collectively come together, contribute money, because you are here trying to protect something that is very valuable. You are protecting your community, you are protecting your investments. So you can collectively changa and, have some harambe, contribute 100,000, 1 million, 2 million shillings. Then you will tell the county that in this case that you are incapable of preparing the plan because you do not have allocated funds, we are going to do our own plans. So you are going to hire your own consultants, you are going to give them your terms of reference, then they are going to prepare plans which will be approved, which will then be used as a basis for development control. That will give you some kind of security because plans have windows. One thing we have to agree is that development must continue. Right?
But before you go to that,
yes,
you say that the county does not have the funds. Why do we pay taxes?
Good question. Good question. Most recently, I think a couple of months back, as the Kenya Institute of Planners, we paid a courtesy visit to the county, and what we got was a bit of a surprise, that there were certain funds that were available for preparing plans, but because we live in a community that has not been converted to appreciate what planning is, these funds were taken and used for developing markets, right? We live.
But the markets do exist within a local physical development.
Yes.
Are we not working backwards?
Yes. We live in a city where people look at plans as, documents that have no value. All right? And so this has to happen from the top, where the top leadership is convinced that there is value in planning. My senior here is talking about Malaysia and Kuala Lumpur. When Kuala Lumpur became impossible in the 90s, what did they do? They switched the capital city. Of course, they had somebody who was sort of branded by the West a dictator, Mahathir Mohamad, who decided that, look, no, Kuala Lumpur, we can no longer continue in Kuala Lumpur. So they opened a new capital city called Putrajaya, where all their national institutions are located. If we decide to go that way, I do not know what will happen, because that will kill all of us who have any property that we have, who have any kind of social organizations that we have in the city. So maybe my advice to Kilimani Project Foundation is this: organize yourselves, go to court, changia pesa, get a lawyer, stop whatever approvals are going on. We are the planners, all right? I am a planner, and I know that we are the people doing change of use in this city, right? But a city cannot develop on the basis of change of use. It cannot. And any city that is allowed to develop on the basis of change of use, because with that change of use comes falsification of approvals, farcical public participation, it's going to be a mess. It's already a mess right now, but it's going to get worse. All right? So organize yourselves, stop the process, compel the city to plan, and we will be happy, because we will know that with better planning, even planners will have a better chance of earning an honest living, where we will then be applying for proper change of use in an environment that is properly regulated.
Thank you, planner. Thank you for that articulation. So, Watu wa Rapta, Watu wa Mbazi, you have heard. Let us all join hands together and fight towards local physical development plans. I think that is the only solution, that long-lasting solutions that we can have right now.
Can I just add one more lasting solution which you must carry with you today? I think now we agree that your leadership is not supporting you today. So, citizens of Kilimani, 2027 is not far. Today you must resolve and decide that you will make sure you choose or you have the leader of your choice. And all this is just about planning and agreeing amongst yourselves as citizens that Architect Irene is here, she understands our issues, let us put her in a position of leadership. Because all this is about leadership. The built environment, for me and Emma, we have work to do. The built environment, the person who sits at the top of the built environment is the architect. We are the vision bearers. If we are not engaging at that level, it is true. The architect is the vision bearer of a built environment. The vision bearer. No, the vision bearer is the architect.
Dear planners and architects, and take your fight outside.
We will create a forum where we can have this discussion.
Yes, a very
robust
robust
part of our work.
And Planner Dono
Yes.
must be there because I can see he's very passionate about this. We shall have a forum, a separate forum.
We will have a forum where we can discuss that. But there is need not just for architects, but for professionals. We need to rise up. You know, this is our country, this is our environment, this is where we are also living and existing. We have to take charge and do what is right and what is needful. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Sonia, just to wind up.
Just in 1 or 2 minutes. I want to really be able to articulate this issue without standing on any sides. Ladies and gentlemen, we can point towards 2027, but the fact is, imagine we have a thief in your house and he's caught holding your baby. We are in a critical situation. I agree we should, as people and through Kilimani project, we should make this resolution that as citizens, which way we want to go forward. And I think the most logical way ahead is targeting this this monster we call a plan that is being discussed in Naivasha. We should plan to go to Naivasha tomorrow in a bus and come back the same day to be able to voice our opinions to people who have been facilitated to go and make our decisions on our behalf without us. Who are they? How did they get there? Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to put not your money, but your action where your desire is. We must have a unity of purpose. And I believe, Madam Irene, the unity of our purpose here is not only our environment, but what we're leaving for our children. So Irene, you know, we might not have a very, very good solution for Rafter Road right now, but I'm telling you, I'm going to be holding your hand every step of the way, just so as long as and until we get a solution for Rafter Road. As we have it right now, developers on Rafter Road have gone back to the board. There is silence. There is eerie silence. You can walk on Rafter Road and say, hey, what happened here? What's going on here? Why? Because the developers have known the residents are awake. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sonia. Ben, you can tell us a word or two?
No, I'm just thinking, because we put some deadlines. We said that if the developer is still going to continue tomorrow, then on Thursday we'll do a mandamano. So we're talking about having a plan here. Can we put some deadlines on when we want a plan for Kilimani? Planners, we have architects, we have Beverly here, CEO. Can we say we'll have a plan in 3 months, and if we don't have that plan in 3 months, tunaenda kwa andamana?
What I can assure you, actually, I'll allow Emma to speak on that. Architect Miloyo.
Okay, thanks. Mary, are you ready? Mary was preparing something as well. Yeah, so thanks everyone. I think this has been a very interesting discussion. I've heard the theme of leadership. Leadership, it all boils down to leadership, and we realized that a while back. we've had about, you can have all the technical experts, but bottom line, your leaders. We've had all this conversation, bottom line, you need a plan. And you see something called the Akili Plan 2030. This was a vision born almost 10 years ago when under Ojwang, the planners in the county had said they wanted to start do something on their own. And they had engaged us, and we had several wonderful sessions in 2019 at Prestige, just talking about the vision that we had shared also with the city council, and we were going to have an LPDP. But what happened is, change of political regime, all that was abandoned, or they lost some, I think we were very, we were ready to engage them, and I think they felt a little bit scared. But we were very encouraged by that. And that dream of an Kili Plan 2030 has not died. It's the logo of the plan development pillar, and it's something that we are pushing. Those of you who are members, there's a petition to sign. You may have seen that, and Mary is putting that up. You can sign that petition. You can contribute to the legal case that is also in the process. And I like the timelines that you're saying, that if by a certain time we do not have, there must be other actions that we must take. But we're asking you guys to step up, sign the petition. This takes resources, give some money in to make this work for Kilimani. But I think the shared vision is the same.
We'll see if we can find.
Thank you.
I'll just say something on the petition. As you can see, we only have 1,127 signatures so far. Just on Bazi alone, there are 10,000 residents. Do you guys have internet? Please sign this petition. We need the numbers. We need the numbers to be able to table it and say we need to have this local physical development plan. It is only through our efforts that will get the authorities, the powers to be, to listen to us. So I will encourage all of us, even you can actually get on your phone right now. Please sign the petition.
And Irene, I just want to say something. That's in terms of the plan. In terms of the question of leadership, Kilimani has also realized that without influencing leadership, with sitting here, we'd have moved so far if we had someone who understands and feels our pain. And therefore, Kilimani has also come up with something called the Leadership Nairobi Initiative. I don't know whether also Beverly will. You can. So anyway, it's sort of a conveyor belt to try and get citizens and private citizens at that activated in terms of taking initiative, whether it is political or otherwise, but standing up and saying and equipping us as leaders to take action in our communities. But it's Nairobi-wide. So if you're interested in that, it's a fellowship, in terms of training leaders, showing them how to, work the ropes and what matters in terms of leadership. It will involve going to the city council, understanding how a city works, understanding the facets of leadership and what is important, because we want to create the next generation of leaders that are from us in terms of, and understand our challenges. It will involve also doing a project that the leaders will participate in Kilimani itself. So if you're interested in that and want to learn more about that, write an email to leadershipnairobi@kilimani.org. leadershipnairobi@kilimani.org. So I think it is good that through this public participation process, we have come to the same conclusion. Yes. The plan and leadership. And Kilimani is doing that, but we need all of you to come on board. And I'm so happy that we have South Sea represented, Westlands Kilimani, Kileleshwa represented, but really it's a Nairobi-wide problem. Kilimani is just a reflection of something that's happening in the entire country. On that note, I am also vice chair of a task force by government called the Re-Engineering Urban Development, set up by State Department of Housing and Urban Development, just looking at what are the problems. Some of the problems are leadership problems, but some of the problems are funding problems. That sometimes, because of what you said, that people just look at short term. Is there a fund that can help to fund things like local development, physical development plan, the big projects around sewer in cities? If there was a fund set up, or if cities were able to raise their money in different ways, would that help in terms of solving the problem? So also happy to just hear the conversations today in that capacity, and just look out for that and what the task force will come up in terms of recommendations. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Emma. Are we now ready for Q&A? You people have too much to say.
They can also tweet at Kilimani Speaks.
1 minute.
Just in not even 1 minute, 30 seconds. This problem is more of a people problem than a project problem. I want to put it out to the public. If they do not value their leaders, then they need to raise up their hand. Otherwise, if they keep quiet, then what is happening will continue. I really put a lot of this onus on the public themselves. Unfortunately, that is part of the problem. Thank you, Sonia. Dr. Gishwaki?
So, sorry to come back again, but we have talked about our problems. I wanted us to live with a smile also. There are some bright spots in the process. Mary complained about petrol stations. I would like to inform you that we have frozen approvals of petrol stations in Kilimani and Lavington until there's proper public participation. So that's one area which I think we can smile about. The other one is all these illegal structures going on. I'm pleased to inform you that on 25th of September, we revoked approvals of 100 developments, some of which are even on the 5th floor of construction, others just starting, because they contravened the approval requirements. So 100 of them down. However, we have a problem in enforcement, which we are still trying to see how to go about it. We also revoked approvals of 3 developments which had received approval, where the architects had misrepresented information. And we agreed that from now on, any architect or any consultant involved in such issues will be reported to the registration board and will be blocked from using the submission system.
At least there's light at the end of the tunnel. So you'll allow me to do the Q&A?
Sure.
Yes, Jeff.
Good morning, everyone.
There you are. Good afternoon.
Afternoon. My name is Jeff Luceno. I live in Loresho. I've lived in Loresho 13 years. Madam Senator here is an old friend of mine. And because I bought my house, she bought hers next to me. So I was an incentive for her to invest. Thank you for this. Thank you, panel. My words are few. And I just want to repeat what the panel has said. If we operate as silos, Kilimani alone, Loresho alone, Nyayo Estate alone, we are going nowhere. We need to come together. The city is ours. Any mess there is, we cannot say that mess belongs to Kilimani. I am here from Loresho, and I came because the topic and the case study of Kilimani is educational to everyone. I was at Ben's protest. In fact, Ben himself, Mbaazi, was surprised. He said, "Oh, hi, who are you?" And sorry, I forget your name. Sam, yeah. He said, "And who are you?" I said, "I'm Jeff." He says, "Oh, what house number do you live in?" I said, "No, I don't live here. I come from Loresho." So there was a step back. They said, "Loresho?" It's almost like, "What are you doing here?" But it was maandamano. There was an illegality being committed, and today it's Mbaazi, tomorrow it is Loresho. And scratch my back, I scratch yours. The way the madness is going on, tomorrow it will be me. And my prayer is that you all join us. Now, somebody the other day spoke about an interesting statistic that describes Kenyans very well. If you look at the population of this area, in fact, I think 40,000 is an understatement. If you look at that population and you look at the representation here, it's shameful. Even when we went for the Mbaazi protest, 1,000 homes, 3,500 to 400 protesters, and there were 30 residents. 30. plus we from Loresho, another 5. How do you expect the powers that be to respond to that? And yet impunity is a monster that thrives on the fact that we are so docile as a society. If we don't speak up, then this mess will continue. So we who are here, we all have social media pages. Go back home and talk about this incident, this occasion. Share a photo. On your page, there will be 300 people, of whom 5 will listen to you. And tell them, please join us. Come next time, there will be another event like this. Let's listen to what is happening to our city. Personally, I'm shocked by the debate I've had. I didn't know that we have no existing laws. We have no teeth to bite. That's why the cartels that are doing development are running amok. So thank you for this. Please, next time, don't limit the invitation to Kilimani. Irene, there was not enough time. It's short notice. You need to drum this kind of thing up so that more of us can come. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jeff, and thank you for coming all the way. Yeah? I believe there's somebody else had a question. Fawcett, you have spoken or you have a comment? Just a quick one, a minute each.
Just allow me to stand. I think I just want to add to what everybody has said. And I'll tell you a genesis of how I actually came to be here. One day I was seated in the office and a friend of mine shows me a group called Upcoming Developments in Raptor Road. And I was like, I have to join here because the discussions that were happening there were about these illegal developments that are happening. And I got in and I did share some perspective. And I think a couple of, almost 10 people, took me on the side. They're like, what do you mean by this? What do you mean by this? And I got engaging. And I think from that perspective, I said, a lot of community members do not understand the importance of planning. And I reached out to the person who posted this, and I think it's you, Irene. And I said, please do invite us as planners to give you a perspective on how we are doing things wrongly in our society. And I'll tell you one. A strategic plan is it's a first thing to everything. The NUI plan that we're talking about, it's at a very strategic level. We work in corporates, and I know we understand that in every other time, every single year, in about 10 years, you set up a strategic plan. But now to implement these plans, you have to break it down to actionable areas. And this is what we are beseeching you as resident associations to actually begin to push for. These neighborhood plans, and I know planners, architects, urban designers, we are all drumming this point of let's go back to the basics of neighborhoods. We don't want to be living in this neighborhood and we are taking our kids to study in 20 kilometers, forcing your child to wake up at 4 a.m. in the morning because they have to be in school in good time. You see where we're coming from? So the whole point I want to make is different neighborhood associations, and I know right now Lavington are actually contributing money to do, the Lavington Resident Association is actually contributing money to do a local physical development plan. And I'm telling them that is where it all begins. Because when you have these local physical development plans, if they're now contributing to the zoning guidelines that are going to go in that discussion that architect is talking about in Naivasha, they're going to look at some zoning guidelines. You don't know where they're coming from. Someone has sat somewhere and they're looking at 75-floor buildings in the center of CBD. How is that even possible? But when you have your local physical planning documents, you're able to actually write. And I also want to, just one more point. I just want to tell you, I know going to the streets and demonstrating is one thing. But one thing that you have to be aware in this society, you need to put some of these documents in a document and you forward to the respective offices and you have them received. You can demonstrate for as much as you want. You can complain about the zoning regulations, but if you don't document, and our dear librarian can tell you, if documents are not there, nobody would even know. It was an event that happened and nobody knew about it. So let us be smart with the systems that we have and let's go for actual developments based on what proper planning. And I know my friend here, Chris, who's a transport planner, will have a lot to say about what is happening here. So, Chris.
Thanks.
Chris, you have a minute, just a minute.
Okay, I'll be quick. So my name's Chris, and I...
You may want to face the camera. Oh, by the way, there's a live link. This is it's live, huh?
Great.
Just for expediency.
So my name's Chris, and I work as a transport planner in Nairobi. And I think as we're having this discussion about the challenges that have come with new development, we shouldn't lose track of the big picture that Nairobi does need new housing. We have more than half of the population living in informal settlements, and there's an urgent need to expand the supply of proper, affordable housing in the city. And so I think it'd be really neat to see how we can get this dialogue beyond the kind of crisis mode that it seems like we're in now, like trying to stop specific developments, and think more proactively about how we can get the right kind of development happening. Because this is a dynamic city. The population's growing. Those of us who live in central neighborhoods are going to see our neighborhoods densify. That's a good thing because people can live closer to where they're working. It makes living here more affordable. So instead, how can we improve what's happening? And so, for instance, if we think traffic is a problem and new development is bringing too many cars into streets that can't handle them, how can we improve the public transport in the city? How can we get the bus rapid transit system built so that we can serve that denser development without everyone having to drive to it? How can we improve the walkways? How can we build better cycle tracks? It's been happening in a few places, but not on the scale it needs to. And then how can we create more open space? So I think we can be a lot more creative about creating green space so that there's public green space, because we can't keep assuming that, okay, if I have a nice green plot now, that's not sustainable. We need to have space that everyone can access so that it's not just for very high income residents who happen to have large plots with lots of trees who can enjoy open space. So I think the local development plan would be a great step forward. We do need to have that because that could get into a lot of these concerns about how can we improve the transport, how can we improve water supply, and how can we raise the revenue to do all that. So those are my 2 cents. Thanks.
Thank you, Chris. Any other question? I'll take just 2 more. Yes. I'll need you to come forward because the camera needs to see you.
Hi, my name is Noni. Has everybody read George Orwell's The Animal Farm? So you know where I'm coming from, right? So you said we have to have local development plans. Who approves them? And who's approving the strategic plans that are being submitted over there? So why would they approve something that they don't want because they want what they want? Or am I just being really dumb? Because if I turn around and say, listen, and I've been living on our road where we are staying for 51 years, and the stuff that's happening now is shocking because your neighbor right next door to you is doing stuff and has had public participation, I like that animal, and you don't know about it, and you're the neighbor. And the other neighbor's ringing you up in the middle of the night and saying, what the flip is happening? And we don't know. And then we're talking about all these grandiose ideas about having a leader. Bazi Avenue, how many residents? How many molds did you have that went and informed people?
We had loads, yeah.
Exactly. And you had people who were sitting on the fence, going on this side, or were blatantly on the other side, but were pretending to be your friends. So we need to have a very realistic plan about how we're going to work with this. And, yes, choose your leaders, but when you have a choice between the devil and the deep blue sea, there isn't really much of a choice, is there? So, it amazes me that we can all be educated young Kenyans and talking about schools. I went to Kenya, to St. George's Primary, which is down the road from me, and now I hear you. Suddenly there's no school for your children in your neighborhood because, what happened? It was a perfectly good school, then it went down, Now it's gone into, now slowly it's made a comeback, but it's one of the few schools that's made a comeback. The rest of them have just gone into a decline. So who's responsible? How can we help this? And I don't see, yes, it'll be great if we could do it as a city, but I think we also need to, have representatives, have meetings that are more often, have a forum, have something that is more visible than just the one meeting. And actually, I thought the whole place would be packed, and we're a handful of people. I don't know. And thank you, Emma, for letting me know, but I only found out 2 days before. So I wish we could, I don't know, schools, would that be a good place to go? I don't know. You talk about infrastructure. Our area, Emma, has everything. Has the hospitals, has the schools, has everything. Even has a green space. We have the Arboretum, which is now slowly also going to become history soon, isn't it? So anyway, that's my 2 bits worth, and I'm willing to put my name down somewhere, but...
Thank you, Noni. I will ask you to write. Your hand is up, isn't it? Yes. And I'll give you strictly a minute, because...
Good afternoon, everybody. Let me just throw us out from our comfort zone. We've been too comfortable. We're used to these therapy sessions where we end up in a feel-good session. We've made noise, we've blown guys up and so on. But let's get out of there. Let's begin to ask ourselves, why is it? When my architect, senator, everything, says that architects should approve because they know, the truth is they don't. The reason being, he who pays the piper calls the tune. I hire you as my architect. I want to put up a 75-story building. You're going to do it for me, girl. Am I right? You will find a way within the existing, whatever it is. You tell me that county is short of money. But why does the planning department approve? For a very simple reason. They are told by the governor, you have a target as to about how much revenue to collect this year. So collect revenue. How do I collect revenue? By approving buildings. And so when our licensing procedures shift from being regulatory documents to being revenue collection instruments, then regulation goes out the window. And the most important thing is revenue collection. And then we come here, we're all upset, but that's what happens when you let a cat into the pigeon house. Pigeons die. So I think we as Kenyans need to ask ourselves, where did we go wrong? Because something happened. Something happened way back. Something went wrong. I remember some years back, my late mother telling a then mayor of Nairobi, Bwana Mayor, why do we have these silly regulations? Why can't we change them? And she said, hey, Mrs. Karanja, for someone to change the law, they must understand it first. And the councillors we were hiring, we were voting in, didn't half understand what you're talking about. And so then we downplayed the whole thing. I once stood for a position of councillor in this country, and in my, it wasn't a county then, it was my ward. And people looked at me and said, Mugo, what are you doing standing for Kajura? Huh? You should be standing for member of parliament or, But I told them, governance in any country takes place at the local level. If we don't handle governance at the county level, at the grassroots level, at the ward level, we are done. And that's one of the things that went wrong. We surrendered the role of wards and councillors to residents' associations. That's what happened. The stuff we were doing was previously done by councillors because they got together in a community and they decided, let's do A, B, C, D, and that's what was represented at the county. And every month, the county met and they had a county meeting and they passed decisions from the different wards. Sindivio, we lost it. You ask the current generation, they don't know that. And so we're living in this dichotomy where we have rules and regulations that are written to one thing, and we are living in a different plane. And until the two merge, we will keep fighting about the three-legged stool, whether it is the architect or the planner or the developer. You know, it's a three-legged stool, and you need them all. So mine is to say, guys, we need to find a solution. We need to come out of our comfort zone. We need to stop thinking that living in ignorance is a good thing. It's amazing how many of us have learned something new today. How many have learned something new today? Okay? Because we've been living in ignorance. And Kenyans cherish this. You know, ignorance is bliss. We love this. You know, I'm comfortable. But we need to come out of it. Where's my Umtata? What happened? The Senate is a terrible place, isn't it? It silences men and women. Because they're the men who stand up and tell you, you know, according to my reading, this particular day is a public holiday. It may not be a national day, Your Honor, but it's a public holiday. And for several years, every Kenyan has been going to work on that day. Until the court says, you know, Bwana Umtata, I agree with you. 50 million Kenyans haven't noticed it. And so I think we need to do this. We need to come out of our comfort zone, out of our ignorance, and say, what do we do? Because I do feel that we've played around in that area for too long, especially in applying private solutions to public problems. Far too long, we apply private solutions to public problems. It's a national problem, it's a county problem, it's a ward problem, but let's deal with it as our little, in my home, in my residence association, in my this and the other. And somebody said, we need to get out of that immediately. Finally, let me say this, that who's heard of the term cartels? Okay. Who came across the term cartel in any of our governance documents? In the Constitution? In any of statutory laws? Where is it written that a body known as a cartel shall exist and perform the following functions? You know, I ask that because we've come to accept them as normal. Have we not? And yet, in fact, we've made them more powerful than offices that are actually down in legislation. And we're willing to accept that, you know, this cartel and that cartel. But ladies and gentlemen, you are the cartel called the community. And if this cartel does not become more powerful than the cartel in the planning department, the cartel in the water department, the cartels in wherever, then those cartels will win. But we too can be a cartel, a community cartel, a formation of men and women who decide we will do the right thing and we will not have the wrong thing happening down our road. I told Nairobi County at one time, there's no way you should tell me to buy water from a Bowser, because water is not a problem in this city. This city does not have a water problem. If it did, there'll be no Bowser sitting out there. People would not be able to get water. And if in the regulations say that the county must deliver water to me through my meter, in fact, without it, you can't get my building approved. Isn't it? If I put up a building and I don't have a city council connected meter, I can't get water. I mean, I can't get a occupation certificate. So why should I get an occupation certificate and then buy water from a Bowser whose source I don't know, whose quality of water I don't know, and the county has not verified that water as fit for human consumption, as potable water? But we keep quiet. And so I think Kenyans, we need to get out of this and say, hey guys, wake up, wake up. What do we really want? Something went wrong, true, but we are the generation that can change it. And I believe we can change it. I believe I love what you've said in terms of coming together. Let's do so. But meanwhile, let's get an UMTATA in. If I come from finance, and one of my areas of interest is income tax. The one interesting thing about the Income Tax Act, Finance Act, the law, it is written for everybody. Everybody, including KRA. They don't write the law. They just simply enforce what is existing in the law. So, even the planning laws, they are written for everybody, including the planning department. So if they don't have an existing legislation to approve or not approve a piece of paper, then they have no business approving or not approving it. And so yes, if I did have an UMTATA, I would have gone to court and say, why are all these approvals coming out of City Hall when there is no existing law that allows for them to approve? And I'm sure one learned judge will say, hey, Mzee, you're right. Me, according to this law expired such and such a date, and one of two things must persist. Either the status quo, i.e. the previous law continues, or no further approvals take place. It's a very simple thing. And I think we overcomplicate our lives. It is not that complicated. It can be very, very simple.
Well, Mugo did not introduce himself.
My name is Mugo, Mugo Wakaranja. I am a resident of Kilimani, a resident of Nairobi for a number of years. I came to Nairobi just before independence, so I've kind of lived here through the changes of seeing Nairobi as being declared one of the best cities. And I mean this. It was documented as one of the cleanest cities in the world. I remember at one time when our water issues... okay. Just giving the reason why I'm able to talk about Nairobi. I love Nairobi. It's a beautiful place. And I live on Timau Road, where we suffer from the noise pollution of a guy who comes in next door 20 years after we move in and play music until 1 o'clock in the morning. So that's why I love this city. We have a reason to be happy. Good day.
Thank you, Mugo. He's also a board member of the Kilimani Project Foundation. Now, I would have loved to take more questions, but time is really, really not on our side. So I think I'll thank the panel. Thank you so much for your time, for taking the time, and for educating us. Yeah? And we will be welcoming you back again, because we'll do this again and again until we get results. I think I'll hand the program back to Mary so that she can take us through the last bit.
Thank you, our panelists. We had a small something for you, so I feel like you left a bit too early. Juliet. Okay, as they come, I'd like to share something that is on the screen. We are also fundraising for our petition. So we have an M-Pesa pay bill number and an account number. Kindly take notes and kindly help us fund it. Also, I'd like to, as Mugo mentioned, today was a therapy session. We vent and we get angry and we complain. So on 25th of November, which is next Saturday, we have a Christmas edition of a street festival. So we'll be taking our street back, which is Rose Avenue. We take it back, we lock it, and we have fun. We dance, we buy stuff, so it's purely fun. So bring your friends and family. So it will be at Rose Avenue, which is near Yaya. So 25th. Then we also have a networking event, which is a community dinner, and we will be communicating the date and the venue on our social media sites. So bring your neighbor. Maybe you haven't even had tea with your neighbor for a long time. Don't just meet them during maandamanos. Bring them to the community dinner. We will communicate the date. So Juliet is here. Sure.
Rose Avenue actually starts right here on Gong Road. So which part of Rose Avenue? It's a section next to Kilimani Police Station from Jabavu Road to Lenana Road. That stretch of Rose Avenue. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So, Juliet will take charge of this part of the presentation, or will it be Emma?
We're doing it together. We're doing it together. Tunandamana.
Yeah. So just to thank our esteemed panelists for taking the time, just have a small token of appreciation. We have a T-shirt, a Kilimani T-shirt, and a notebook.
To wear to the next
So the black is for the men. I think the pink is for the ladies. Yeah. 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 Okay.
Yes, you can sit.
You can sit down now. Yeah. Okay.
The camera is right there. So, vote of thanks. Thank you, everybody, for coming. First of all, we'd like to...
Small demo by Alpha.
Alpha Systems. We'd like to thank our sponsors. To make this happen, it takes, to run a foundation, it takes money, and we'd love to thank our hosts, CTM, who have supported us throughout the year with the virtual barazas and this baraza. We'd like to thank Vilcom. Vilcom is the latest kid in town in the internet provision space. So if you're suffering, suffer no more. Vilcom is here to save you, and they have their tent out there. We also have Alpha Systems. Thank you so much, Alpha, supporting us throughout the year. They were here last year, they're here again, and they'd like to just mention something small, and then we show you something, and then we can call it a day. Please note there's coffee out there, so don't go support local businesses, buy something, eat something. Don't go multinational, just buy here. Yeah, and even as Alpha close, I'd like to thank the Secretariat. Thank you so much for the work and the effort that you put in. We don't take it for granted. Thank you, Irene, as our convener of the Plan Development Committee. Thank you so much for mobilizing, and really, I think it has been worth it. All of you have made us just realize how important the work we do is, yeah? So thank you. It indeed has been a therapy session. Asanteni, I don't know if they've forgotten anyone else, but to you guys for attending.
Oh, yes, you have. You've forgotten one of our sponsors, Space and Style, in conjunction with the Architects Alliance, has sponsored the live streaming of the event.
Thank you so much. Thank you. So over to you, Naomi. From Alpha Systems, 2 minutes so that we can release guys to talk to each other. People are waiting to talk to a few people, but please don't, and drink tea and coffee, yes. Please don't punch anyone today after this. And
Hi, good afternoon. As you go out, we have a stand. We are showcasing smart electricity meters. I know there's been a change of legislation, not legislation, let me not say registration, change of direction by Kenya Power in terms of bulk metering. We've been in this space for about 5 years now. We are offering smart utility management, so not just for electricity, but also for water. We are using a technology called NB-IoT. So the team will be there to showcase. We thank Kilimani Foundation, one, because our first pilot clients came from this area. So if you have any question on how smart utility metering works, at least we have a number of clients we can show around Kilimani area. We're very proud to be associated with you. And please don't struggle. For us, we are very transparent in the whole solution. So we give you a solution that works for you as the service provider, if you're a landlord, or a service provider, or a management company that is transparent to your tenants. So we take care of all the hassle that goes in between you and your tenants. All right? So please visit us to learn more about our solution.
Thank you. Beverly, you don't want to talk anymore? Okay. Or we can do a group picture just there. But everyone, thank you so much for coming. Please, like was said, tweet, follow us at Kilimani Speaks on all the platform, and please become a member. Haba na haba, hujaza kibaba. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Asante sana, everybody. Yeah. We are free to mingle and fight.